Inputs coming in at this point in time. U.S. Commerce Secretary has made a shocking statement. In fact, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick has said that he's expecting that India will be back at the negotiating table in the next 1 or 2 months, saying sorry to try to sign the trade deal, as the U.S. is the largest consumer in the world and because the consumer is always right. So according to U.S. Commerce Secretary, India is going to say sorry to America and will be sitting on the table for the trade deal with America. For more on this, I am joined by Rishabh, my colleague. Rishabh, good evening. I mean, what's really happening within Trump administration? We're not really able to understand, because now you have U.S. Commerce Secretary coming out and saying that, very soon India will come and say sorry for what? I mean, if negotiations are happening, both sides we know are going to be sitting across the table. A couple of days ago, Union Minister Piyush Goyal mentioned that, the dialogue is underway and perhaps by November or so, we could see some breakthrough. Rishabh?
If we talk about Commerce Secretary for that matter, is he Nostradamus is the major question. Saying that India would come on table saying sorry, and given that the United States is world's biggest consumer, one forgets that India is a market of 1.4 billion people, and this market has brought United States to sign forward-looking defense deals after deals. The same country that was issuing sanctions against India in 1998 after nuclear test was, very clearly trying to sign a civil nuclear deal with India, and, a deal was even signed. Why was that happening? Because of the market strength of India and the way India and Indian, economy has developed in last 2.5 decades. It has sent a very loud and clear message that, it's not that developing India of 60s, 70s, where you can try and dictate your terms. Even back then, US has not been able to dictate those terms. So you can, one can go and ask Nixon for that matter. And
right.
Now that, Donald Trump is, attacking India one after another, now saying that India has India is now lost in China's deep and dark ecosystem. Commerce Secretary saying that India would say sorry. One fails to understand what exactly White House's strategy is. Foreign policy is
right.
not a social media game. Foreign policy is not something that happens through social or Twitter.
Right.
Foreign policy is a long, drawn game which is played under the table, not in a public arena.
And India had already made its stance clear on this particular issue. Remember, we've seen statements coming in from Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, who's made it amply clear many a times that when it comes to negotiating a trade deal or any kind of deal, then it is national interest that comes first for India. We don't really look at any kind of deadlines. And Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal, in fact, earlier this month, as I was mentioning, had expressed hope of concluding some kind of a bilateral trade agreement with the United States of America by November. Listen.
I want to ask you a very, very personal question. You've handled this ministry now, I think, over a decade. Did you expect 50% tariff to be announced by Trump?
We are open to all situations, and we take all situations in the stride.
I know,
we will find solutions to the situation.
You think there is a solution in sight?
Of course.
Is there a back channel where you can see some warmth? Because from this side of the fence, everything seems like Alaska cold.
Negotiations don't happen across news channels and with the media.
But the last round was postponed without a new date. Is there an engagement?
Very often postponement. I have postponed so many visits of mine to so many other countries. My team sometimes I'm not able to send for negotiation.
Are you confident about the November deadline that you yourself have announced?
It's not a deadline. It's an
expectation.
It's an aspirational date which was decided in February, when Prime Minister Modi and Honorable President Trump met in February, long back. At that time, they had guided both the teams to work towards a fall 2025 deadline.
Are you on track?
I think India is very much prepared to be able to complete it by that time.
ये जो duet था ये solo song में हो गया. आप बार-बार कह रहे हैं India is committed to it. You know.
No, I keep hearing from the American side also so many statements which say that the trade deal should happen sooner than later.